Here we have a 2001 Toyota Tacoma PreRunner SR5. It's a single cab, step-side pickup, and it's not a 4x4. It is, however, an excellent truck if you rarely visit the snow and never need to haul anything too serious. If you're like me, and I know I am, the PreRunner SR5 part might be a little confusing. PreRunner SR5 means that this truck borrows suspension parts from the more off-road friendly 4x4 version. That explains the ride height, 6 lug axles, and these 6 spoke wheels. Okay, sorry, to me they look like 3 spokes because they have these big 3 main chunky parts, and I get that there are 6 whole, but anyway. This year will mark the start of this Tacoma's 3rd decade on planet Earth. No one should be surprised. Toyotas run forever. Hell, Top Gear struggled to kill one. But nonetheless, it's the perfect excuse to show this truck some more love. I have plans to add more power to this truck down the line. However, before I can make it go fast, first I have to make sure that it can stop fast. So today I will be installing a Tundra brake kit. Now the Tundra is sort of the Tacoma's heavier duty big brother in the Toyota family of trucks. The brakes that would have been designed to come with the Tundra would be rated for a heavier, larger truck, and they should stop a smaller truck like ours way faster. This kit comes with a black anodized rotor, which you can see here, and it comes with cross-drilled holes and slotted channels, which won't only help us keep just a little bit cooler, but mainly evacuate any brake dust we might generate from a hard stop. Other than that, it also looks like it has, I'd say, about 5 cooling fins for every 4 cooling fins that the other stock rotor has, so that should definitely help us keep our brakes a little bit cooler. Also in the kit, we have this Tundra brake caliper, which is larger to accommodate the larger rotor, and also appears to have larger pistons. I'll have to check it with some calipers later on. It should be a really good upgrade for us. It should make the truck sort of haul down a lot quicker, which is especially good if you have anything heavy in the bed. Last but not least, this Tundra braking kit comes with hard lines to replace some of our soft lines, which is definitely good because it means when we go to step on our brake pedal, all of that force is going to go into the brake fluid and end up squeezing the caliper against the rotor and help us stop instead of doing any compression of these rubber lines. All this new hardware has me eager to get the old stuff uninstalled. We'll start at the top and work our way down, beginning where the soft line meets the hard line. After loosening the 10mm flare nut behind it, we're going to remove this clip that holds the soft line to the chassis. Here's a detailed view of what I'm talking about. If yours gets stuck, consider using a screwdriver to get it free. Now we have access to a 10mm flare nut on the end of our hard line from our master cylinder. I was trying to use this regular old open-end 10mm wrench, but unfortunately I think it's going to start rounding it off here really soon, so obviously we can't have that because then we're going to have to replace the whole line. So to get around that, I've run out to Harbor Freight, and I got a set of metric flare nut wrenches. They're sort of open end, but have this place for you to fit the hex-shaped bolt in, which is what makes it the special kind of flare nut type. So let's see if we can't stick it on here. The flare nut wrench is absolutely the way to go, and you can see how the open end was rounding off the flare nut before. You can also see brake fluid dripping out. Handle this stuff with gloves, and don't let it get anywhere near a paint job that you care about. If you have a rubber stopper of the right size, you might want to put it over the hard line to minimize dripping. Next, we'll be removing this bracket, which attaches the middle part of the soft line to the spindle. The new brakes actually have a hard line from here down. Once you've got the line free, be careful while you tuck it away, because there might still be some brake fluid in it. These two 17mm bolts are the last couple that have to be removed before the caliper can come off the spindle. These bolts are typically hard to remove because they're usually held in place with some kind of thread locker like Loctite. It is for the best, as these bolts literally hold the brakes to the vehicle. However, it does make them a bit of a pain to remove. After several failed attempts, I called in some help with WD-40 and a very long-handled ratchet. Nice, all right. I have had a caliper bolt come out at speed before, and let me tell you, it was not fun. It luckily didn't actually do too much damage or anything like that, or cause very, very much of an unsafe situation other than just the fact that it was loose in the first place. But yeah, you don't want to have that happen. You want to make sure to put Loctite back on these when we put it back on.
And with that, our old caliper is free, and now we can compare it to the new one. Using this tool, ironically also called calipers, we can see our new calipers are a few millimeters larger in the key areas as compared to the old ones. The most important would be the pistons and the area where the brake rotor can pass in between both sides of the caliper. I'd hate to have the new calipers end up all rusty like the old calipers, so before I put them back on the truck, I'm going to give them a coat of this Rust-Oleum High Heat Ultra paint. Now this stuff doesn't hold up to brake leans, so if that's going to be a problem for your build, I'd consider another option. Thanks to this paint, the next time the wheels come off this truck, whenever that is, these brakes will still look awesome. Back on the truck, I'm ready to pull off the old rotor, as well as install our bracket, which will hold our hard line to our new, shorter soft line. The brackets come stamped with an L for left or an R for right, so you really can't get this one wrong. Now we can put the new rotor on and spin it to check for clearance issues with the brake dust shield. Sometimes this shield must be cut to get everything to fit. In my case, all it required was some pushing around and some good old-fashioned massaging with a rubber mallet to get everything playing nicely. If you hear scraping when you go to rotate the rotor, you still have a clearance issue. Look for small scratches on the surface of the brake rotor to determine where things are scraping if you still need some more space. Once the rotor is good to go, we can put our caliper bolts back in, don't forget your Loctite, and move on to installing our new soft line, which is going to go from the master cylinder hard line to about halfway down the spindle. We're going to reuse the clip that we removed up top and use a new, very similar clip on the bracket about halfway down the spindle. I actually found it easier to put the second clip in place after I had already started installing the hard line. The new hardline from the caliper uses a couple of flare nuts just like the ones on the hardline that came from the master cylinder up above. Once those flare nuts are tightened up, we can drop in our brake pads and install our anti-rattle clip. I'm going to reuse the factory one, which is held in place using these rods. All things considered, this swap was actually a pretty quick job. Without stopping to talk to the camera or editorialize the process, the other side took me just about an hour, tools out to tools away. The finished product looks awesome, and I was waiting until I had a chance to not only install them on the truck, but live with them for a couple weeks before I gave them any recommendation. And I do. This kit came from LC Engineering, and if you want to learn more about it, including a detailed breakdown of everything included, and some before and after photos I took, you can check out the associated post at elliottmotorworks.com. Check the description for details, and thanks for watching.